We've all been there, swallowing down irritation, plastering on a smile when we'd rather frown. We think we're doing the right thing, being the better person, but are we? Sometimes holding it all in can do more harm than good. Just like a lump of clay left untended, our unexpressed feelings can harden and crack under pressure. Angry faces in the clay society's take on temper tantrums. From a young age, we're often taught that anger is bad. Like a mischievous gremlin, it's something to be feared and shunned. We tell children to use their words and calm down, often without giving them the tools to do so. Society tends to label anger as negative, associating it with aggression and violence. We see angry outbursts on the news and in movies, further cementing this negative perception. But what if we're looking at anger all wrong? What if, like a lump of clay, it's not inherently good or bad, but simply a raw material with the potential for both? Bottling up when feelings fester and explode. Imagine a volcano, silent and still. Beneath the surface, molten lava churns, a buildup of pressure waiting to erupt. Our emotions can work in a similar way. When we constantly suppress our anger, it doesn't just disappear, it festers like a forgotten cheese bit under the sofa. This bottled up anger can manifest in unhealthy ways. We might experience headaches, insomnia, or digestive issues. Our relationships might suffer as resentment builds, and eventually we might erupt in ways we later regret, hurting ourselves and those around us. Ignoring anger doesn't make it go away, it only makes it harder to handle. Healthy kneading, shaping anger into something new. Just as a skilled animator molds clay into expressive characters, we can learn to mold our anger into something constructive. The first step is acknowledging our anger. Instead of denying it or pushing it down, we need to recognize it for what it is, a natural human emotion. Instead of viewing anger as an enemy, we can view it as a messenger, a signal that something is wrong and needs to be addressed. Perhaps a boundary has been crossed, an injustice has occurred, or a need is not being met. Section 5. Wallace's words of wisdom talking out the temperament. Wallace, despite his eccentricities, often stumbles upon wisdom. He might say, "It's no good bottling it up, Gromit, a good chat always helps." And he'd be right. Talking about our anger, whether to a trusted friend, family member, therapist, or even a journal, can be incredibly cathartic. When we share our feelings openly and honestly, we release some of that pent-up pressure. It allows us to process our emotions, gain a new perspective, and find healthier ways to cope. Section 6. Community clay pits, building understanding together. Imagine a community clay pit where people can come together to express their anger safely and creatively. This doesn't mean throwing clay at each other, although a playful toss could be therapeutic. It means creating a space where anger is destigmatized, where people feel comfortable sharing their experiences without judgment. We can foster these spaces by promoting open communication, empathy, and active listening. Schools can implement emotional intelligence programs, workplaces can offer workshops on conflict resolution, and communities can host support groups and forums for open dialogue. Section 7. Cracking the mold, redefining anger in everyday life. Let's challenge the negative stereotypes surrounding anger. Instead of seeing it as inherently destructive, let's recognize its potential for positive change. Think of the activists, the revolutionaries, the artists who channeled their anger into movements that challenged injustice and ignited progress. Anger, when harnessed effectively, can be a powerful motivator. It can fuel our creativity, drive our ambition, and inspire us to fight for what we believe in. Section 8. From fists to fables, turning anger into art and action. Remember that growing ball of frustration inside Gromit? What if, instead of letting it fester, he channeled it into his art? Perhaps he could sculpt a powerful piece reflecting his feelings. Or maybe he could use his frustration to fuel a new invention, one that prevents cheese-related mishaps. We can all learn from Gromit. We can find healthy outlets for our anger: exercise, journaling, painting, music, or even gardening. The key is to transform that raw energy into something productive and meaningful. Section 9. A brighter future, brick by brick. Hope for a world that understands anger. It's time to change the narrative around anger. By understanding its roots, respecting its power, and learning healthy ways to express it, we can create a world where anger is not a source of shame, but an opportunity for growth and connection. Just like a meticulously crafted claymation film, building a future where anger is understood and valued requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to see the world from different perspectives. It requires us to embrace the complexities of human emotion and recognize that even anger, in its rawest form, can be molded into something beautiful and meaningful.